She thought she married a businessman, but she woke up next to the devil in a suit. And when she ran away, pregnant, he let her go. But 5 years later, he found her, and the 2 little secrets she thought were safe. This is the story of Grace Luckman, the woman who accidentally married the mafia. When heartbreak meets alcohol, sometimes, you wake up with more than just a hangover. Grace Luckman never planned to get married. At least, not like this. Not to a stranger. The room was dim. The curtains drawn. Her head pounded like a drum being punished. The satin bedsheet tangled around her legs, cold and unfamiliar. Her eyes fluttered open slowly. Confusion. Silence. Then a weight on her left hand. A ring. A diamond. A huge one. And it wasn't fake. Grace blinked again. What the hell? She sat up quickly, only to realize she wasn't alone. A figure lay beside her, broad-chested, shirtless, handsome in a dangerous kind of way. He had a chiseled jaw, stubble like a model, and that slight scar near his lip that looked both sexy and suspicious. He stirred. "Good morning, wife." His voice was smooth, deep, hauntingly calm. Grace's heart stopped. "What did you just call me?" she whispered, gripping the sheets to cover herself. He stretched lazily, amused by her panic. "Grace Luckman, or should I say Grace Moretti now. We got married last night." "What?" She jumped out of the bed, ignoring the fact that she was in someone else's shirt, his shirt, oversized, smelling of spice and musk. "What do you mean we got married? Who are you?" Her voice cracked. Her head still dizzy from whatever mix of wine, tequila, and tears she had the night before. He stood slowly, walking toward her like a predator coming a skittish animal. "I'm Frederick. Frederick Moretti." "You said yes." Vows were exchanged. "We even kissed in front of a very real priest." "Jesus Christ." Grace covered her mouth. Frederick raised an eyebrow. "He wasn't there, but you definitely called his name multiple times last night." "Shut up," she barked. Her mind spiraled. This couldn't be real. Yesterday she was crying into her wine over her ex-boyfriend who cheated on her with her best friend. She had sworn off men. Sworn off love. Then her friends dragged her to Las Vegas. Then came the shots. The club. The dancing. And now she was married to a damn stranger. "What do you want from me?" she asked, voice trembling. Frederick crossed his arms. "Relax. I don't want your money. I have more than enough. I just want you to keep your word." "My word." "I was drunk." "You weren't that drunk," he smacked. "You knew what you were doing. And you kissed me first." "I don't even know you." Frederick's eyes darkened, just for a second. "Then get to know me." The next few hours were a blur. She took a shower. He made breakfast. Scrambled eggs, pancakes, bacon. The man could cook, she had to admit. He poured her coffee and sat across the small dining table. "So," he said. "Tell me something about yourself, Mrs. Moretti." She glared at him. "I'm not your wife." He smiled. "Legally, you are. But okay. Grace. Tell me something about Grace." She rolled her eyes but sighed. "I work 3 jobs. I support my mom and 2 younger brothers. I don't do relationships. And I definitely don't do spontaneous marriages." Frederick studied her. "You don't look like someone who's struggling." "That's because I clean up well. But if I miss one shift, we might not eat. I hustle." He nodded. "Impressive." Grace looked up. "Your turn. Who are you really? What do you do?" He paused. Longer than necessary. Instead of answering, he sipped his coffee and looked her dead in the eyes. I take care of what's mine. Her brows pinched. That's not a job title. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Does it matter? You're not going anywhere. Her stomach tightened. What do you mean? You said yes, Grace. You're mine now. I don't do temporary. Not in marriage. His tone was gentle, but the message wasn't. The days that followed felt off. Frederick was oddly calm. Too calm. The mansion was beautiful but cold. Guards were everywhere, silent, stone-faced, always watching. She tried asking for her phone back. Her ID. A chance to step outside. The answer was always no. Not yet, Frederick would say. It's for your safety. But safe from what? She wasn't allowed visitors. She wasn't allowed out. Not even to the front yard. Everywhere she went, a guard followed. Even to the bathroom door. She was living in a golden prison. And slowly, her fear began to grow. She started noticing strange things. Men coming in late at night, some with bruises and blood on their shirts. Conversations that ended the second she walked in. Whispers in languages she didn't understand. Once, she caught sight of a shipment list on Frederick's desk. It didn't say jewelry. It said cargo weight and protected transport routes. She didn't know what it meant yet. But every day, the mask cracked a little more. Frederick would leave in a suit and come back with blood on his knuckles. He told her it was business. But never what kind. He didn't yell. He didn't hit. But he controlled everything. Where she went. What she wore. Who she talked to. What she knew. And when she asked too many questions, the warmth in his eyes faded into steel. You don't need to know, he'd say. The breaking point came one night, when she couldn't sleep. She wandered into the hallway and heard voices from behind the locked office door. Gunshots. Not on TV. Real ones. Muffled. Then silence. Two men stepped out. One was wiping blood off his hands. The other carried a thick envelope and whispered, "Tell the boss, it's done." They stopped cold when they saw her. She ran. Straight back to her room. Heart hammering. She didn't sleep that night. She had married a stranger. But now, she knew. Frederick wasn't a businessman. He was a killer. A leader. A puppet master pulling strings in a world of shadows. She was trapped in his house. Living like a bird in a golden cage. And her only thought now. I need to get out. The days felt longer now. Grace Lookman was no longer confused. She was scared. The fantasy had faded. The mansion no longer looked like a dream. It was a cage, a soft, luxurious cage with gold-plated locks. Frederick wasn't just controlling. He was hiding something. And every minute she stayed, Grace felt that something creeping closer. Breathing down her neck. She stood by the tall window in the guest room. She had been sleeping alone for a week now. The bed felt colder than ever. Outside, the yard stretched wide, green and quiet. But beyond the gates, armed men, dressed in black, paced like panthers. Ice cold. Alert. Soulless. She tested the front door once. Just once. Where are you going? One of the guards asked, stepping into her path like a wall of ice. Grace gave a nervous smile. Just getting some fresh air. The master didn't authorize it. The master, she repeated, the smile slipping. He didn't flinch. Please return inside. That was the moment it hit her. She wasn't a wife. She was a prisoner. Back in the room, she paced. No phones. No laptops. No landline. Frederick said it was for privacy. That the house was off-grid. No signals. No social media. No distractions. You need time to adjust, he would say, brushing hair from her face. You're still overwhelmed, Grace. I'm just protecting you. But who was protecting her from him? So she started watching. Every movement. Every shadow. She saw the way the guards whispered when she walked by. How they stood straighter when Frederick entered the room. She noticed a locked office with maps. Red dots. Strange names she didn't recognize. And then one night, she couldn't sleep. She peeked out the hallway window and froze. Frederick was outside. Shirtless. Barefoot. His hands were soaked in blood. Two men were hosing down a black SUV. Blood running into the drains. Grace clapped her hand over her mouth, choking back a scream. He didn't see her. He didn't know she saw. The next morning, he was gentle. Too gentle. Breakfast in bed. French toast. Warm strawberries. Fresh orange juice. She could barely touch the food. Are you okay? He asked, eyes piercing. I'm just tired, she mumbled, pushing the plate away. He kissed her forehead softly. You don't have to worry about anything anymore. I told you. I'll take care of everything. But now she knew what everything meant. Everything. Meant blood. Meant power. Meant fear. Grace didn't cry anymore. Not in front of him. She smiled. She played the part. Said thank you when he handed her silk robes and diamond bracelets. But inside, she was planning. She watched the patterns. The guards changed every 4 hours. Frederick left twice a week for business. Always at night. Always back by dawn. 3 cameras in the hallway. But one blind spot by the back staircase. He was pretending to be calm. But really, she was calculating. Then it happened. Wednesday night. Frederick got a call. Urgent. He dressed in black. Tense. Silent. I'll be back by morning, he said. One quick kiss. Then he was gone. She waited 1 hour. 2. Then she moved. Barefoot. Heartbeat pounding in her ears. She slipped into the hallway. Past the kitchen. Into the storage room. There was a hidden door to the basement. And the basement. An old steel exit. Locked from the inside. But Grace had stolen the key 2 days earlier. She prayed it would work. Her hands shook as she slid it in. Click. Freedom. Cold night air slapped her in the face. The back alley was empty. No guards. No barking dogs. Just moonlight and silence. She ran. And ran. And ran. Until her lungs gave up. Until her knees buckled. She didn't stop until she vanished into the city. She didn't remember how she got to the bus station. Or how she got on a bus. Or how she ended up in a dingy motel room with flickering lights. All she knew was she was gone. And she was alive. But not safe. Days passed. She lived off the cash she found hidden in her robe pocket. A spoiled gift from Frederick. Now it bought her escape. She cut her hair. Dyed it. Bought cheap clothes. Got a part-time job at a bakery. Moved into a small, one-room apartment. No questions asked. She thought she could start over. But then, the nausea began. The dizzy spells. The missed period. She tried to ignore it. But it only grew stronger. She bought a test. Locked herself in the bathroom. Shaking. She stared down at the result. 2 lines. Positive. She collapsed onto the bathroom floor, weeping. Not just because she was pregnant, but because it was his. Frederick's. 3 weeks later. The nurse smiled after the scan. "Congratulations, Miss Lookman. You're having twins." Grace blinked. Twins. She didn't even know how to process one child, let alone two. She walked home numb, staring ahead, holding her stomach. Two tiny lives. Both half hers, half his. No matter how far she ran, she could never erase Frederick completely. But she made her decision. She wasn't going back. Not now. Not ever. She would protect her babies, even if it meant hiding for the rest of her life. Back at the mansion, the heavy front doors opened. Frederick walked in, his boots echoing on the marble. He stopped, looked around. "Grace," he called. No answer. The maids were silent. He climbed the stairs. Her room was empty. No bags. No clothes. Just silence. Then he saw the key, lying on the floor near the storage door. His eyes narrowed. Jaw clenched. He slammed a fist into the wall. "Search the cameras," he backed. His men scrambled. She was last seen near the east stairwell, boss, one reported minutes later. "She's gone. Off the grid." Frederick's eyes darkened. Gone? No. Not for long. He turned away from the screen and growled low. "I'm bringing her back. When a lion loses its prey, it doesn't sit and cry, it hunts." That's exactly what Frederick Moretti did. He didn't mourn. He didn't sulk. He hunted. It was just past 4 a.m. when he returned. The estate was quiet, too quiet. No greeting at the door. No warm smile waiting. No Grace. At first, he thought she was asleep. But her room was empty. Then the panic began. "Check the cameras," he barked. "Wake every guard on duty. I want the entire property searched. Now." He tore through the hallways like a storm. No notes. No signs of struggle. Just silence and a missing wife. The back staircase showed nothing. The hallway cams blacked out. But the basement door unlocked. Frederick clenched his jaw so hard it ached. He didn't need a map to read the situation. She had escaped on her own, and she had played him perfectly. "Boss," said Matteo, his right-hand man. "She planned this. She's been observing routines, watching movements. She waited for the blind spot shift." Frederick's voice was cold. "She was smarter than I thought." He stared at the camera footage again, this time frozen on one frame, a shadowed image of Grace slipping through the hallway, barefoot, carrying nothing but a robe. The woman he loved had vanished into the night like smoke. And worst of all, she did it without a trace. Meanwhile, in a narrow apartment tucked behind a worn-out bakery, Grace Lookman was learning how to breathe again. The early days were rough. Nausea, fatigue, loneliness. She moved carefully, used only cash, avoided her real name, told people she was just Miss Gray. Her bakery boss, an elderly woman named Auntie Rosa, never asked too many questions. She just handed her flour and bread orders, humming gospel songs under her breath. It was the quiet Grace needed. A place to disappear. But inside, she was a storm. She'd sit by the window at night, hands resting on her belly, whispering to the life, or rather, lives, growing inside her. "Your daddy is complicated," she'd say softly. "He's strong, powerful, but dangerous." Some nights she missed him. Not the blood, not the control, but the small moments. The breakfast in bed. The way he kissed her forehead like she was fragile. the softness in his voice when he said her name. But then she'd remember the blood, the late night whispers, the secrets, and the cage. And she'd hold her stomach tighter and whisper, "You're safe now." Back at the mansion, Frederick had lost sleep. Grace wasn't just his wife. She was the only softness he had ever let inside. His world was built on strategy, dominance, and fear. He knew how to silence enemies. He knew how to win wars. But he didn't know how to lose Grace. "She can't have gone far," Matteo said. But Frederick wasn't convinced. "She's smart," he muttered. "Too smart to be careless." He activated every resource. Hacked airport security footage. Tapped into hospital records. Flagged every passport variation on her name. Still nothing. The trail was cold. In the city, Grace worked long shifts, often doubling up to pay rent and buy prenatal vitamins. She refused to see a proper doctor, too risky. Everything had to be cash and off-grid. Still, she smiled. Because every morning she woke up free. No guards outside her door. No locked rooms. No eyes watching her breathe. Then came the letters. She started writing in a small journal she kept under her mattress. Letters to her unborn children. "Dear babies, I don't know what kind of world I'm bringing you into. But I promise, it won't be your father's. Dear babies, if I seem scared sometimes, forgive me. I'm learning how to be brave all over again. Dear babies, if he ever finds us, I'll protect you with everything I have." She wrote every night. Like it was her way of rewriting her story, one page at a time. One day, while mixing dough behind the bakery counter, Grace felt a sharp pull in her lower belly. She gasped. Not pain, but movement. It was faint. Like a flutter. Her babies were kicking. Tears filled her eyes. She stepped outside, pretending to check the delivery list, but really, she just wanted to cry where no one would see. Across the city, Frederick had launched an underground manhunt. He didn't publicize it. He wasn't a fool. But in the shadows, there were whispers. A woman. Missing. Dark hair. Brown eyes. Might be pregnant. The underworld buzzed quietly. Still, no confirmed location. Frederick's patience thinned. He stood in his office one night, looking out the tall window, holding her bracelet in his hand, the one he'd given her on her birthday. "She lied to my face," he muttered. "But she's still mine." Then came the break. One of his underground trackers brought back news. "Boss, someone matching her description was spotted buying prenatal vitamins. Cash only. Corner store by 7th Street. No name used." Frederick stood. Eyes dark. Pulse steady. "Send a car. Quietly. Don't spook her. I want confirmation. Then we move." But Grace felt it. The shift in the air. She noticed a man lingering too long near the bakery. A black car parked 2 blocks away with fogged up windows. Her instinct screamed. She didn't hesitate. She packed a bag that night. Just essentials. Cash. Journal. Fake ID. Ultrasound photo. She didn't wait for morning. She ran again. By the time Frederick's men reached the neighborhood, the apartment was empty. Just a bed. A curtain fluttering in the wind. And a note on the counter. "Stop chasing me. I'm not your prisoner. I'm not your prize. And I choose freedom." Frederick read it in silence. His hand clenched the page, knuckles white. Then, calmly, he looked at Matteo. "Find her again. I don't care how long it takes. The woman I lost. I'm winning her back."